Welcome to my channel. This is Fimiesdessertsville. So today we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic, a topic that has been actually very confusing, and it's a topic that has actually posed like a sort of confusion to upcoming bakers as well as regular bakers. Alright, it's called the pros and cons of online training versus on-site training. Are you excited? So I'm going to break this down to the best of my knowledge and just advise. Note that I am not going to be advising specifically on which to go with. When I state out my own points, you should be able to determine or decide by yourself which would work better for you. So I'm not going to be telling you, if you're expecting me to say, okay, so guys, go for online or go for on-site. You're not going to be hearing that from me. So just listen carefully and let's just discuss. So first of all, I'm just going to be listing out the likely or the obvious pros of of online class on-site classes versus the advantages of the online classes. So the truth is this: in anything I say today, always note that either option is always favorable. In any case, they both have their advantages and they both have their disadvantages. So when you're making your decisions, you need to know which one outweighs which one for you. So let's just get straight to it. So I'm going to be starting first off with the on-site trainings. A lot of bakers out there have this notion generally that they can't even learn anything except they are hands-on at the physical space of their tutor. You know how COVID actually made things a lot difficult for people, and a lot of people that had that mindset had to have a shift just so they don't become idle, and they just had to opt for the online, alternative as to learning. And I must tell you that I'm somebody that has actually attempted to give or to engage in on-site classes. But personally for me, despite the fact that it has its own advantages, I as a tutor have actually decided that I prefer to actually run online classes. But this is why. First of all, if you're going through the route of on-site training, I'd always advise bakers that are not new in the game to go with on-site classes. I'm not an advocate for on-site classes for beginners. Yeah, a lot of people will be like, oh, those that need the on-site classes better because they're the ones that do not even have any idea on the baking business and everything. But I must say that the reason why on-site classes might be a little bit difficult is because of the following reasons. Number one, aside from the advantage, the major advantage of on-site classes are the fact that it will be hands-on and physical. You'll be able to see physically what you are doing, you'll be able to feel textures, you'll be able to understand better. But trust me, any good teacher will be able to teach you via an online platform as well as an on-site platform, because the idea is to teach you to pass a knowledge through. So the fact that you are rolling your cameras and doing this is almost as if the person was actually sitting in front of you. So that is for you to now determine if you want to go for on-site online classes. You need to understand the tutor you're going to go with. If the tutor will be able to capture the depth of the teaching as it ought to be. And that is why a lot of people get discouraged about online classes, and that's actually no caps. A lot of teachings out there are not detailed, and that's the fear a lot of people have. They are not detailed. Some tutors might have the tendency of holding back, not because they want to, but they also have the perception that you are not actually saying them so they can do as they ought or as they please. So now it all depends on the credibility of the person who is teaching you. So everything just boils down to the passion of the person teaching you. If the person is able to teach you and give back to you the way the person has the knowledge in them, then trust me, I believe in the online classes. So let me just give you a brief rundown of why I wouldn't tell you which I prefer anyway, but I'll give you the obvious advantages and disadvantages. For one, let's pick the on-site classes. The first major advantage of on-site classes is because it is a physical class. You get to see your tutor one-on-one. You get to have an undivided attention of your teacher through the duration of the class. Like if you have any questions, you'll be able to ask your tutor or your coach or whatever it is at that point, and the person will be able to give you an answer. If you are not satisfied, you'll be able to ask more questions. As against online, that you might need to wait for the tutor to come online to have your time before they can respond to you. So that's weighing that. So that's one. The second advantage is that most of the time you get projects that will actually fixate you to doing stuff at the time when you ought to do it. It doesn't encourage laziness or procrastination when you have an online on-site class, because you need to work with the time frame of the time that has been stated by your coach in order for you to get results. All right, because most of the time most coaches will not wait for you to get it right. Like they just tell you, this your training is going to lapse in 2 weeks, you should be able to achieve this and this. If you are not able to achieve it, you are left with the introductory knowledge. You still need to go and build on it by yourself. So it now depends on how fast you can catch up, and you are fixated, and you are in some kind of pressure, knowing that, oh my god, I have just 2 weeks to get this. I'm personally an advocate for learning with your mistakes. Experience is the best teacher. You're supposed to be able to make mistakes, own your mistakes, and improve on them. But the reason why, especially when it's not an internship program, if it's strictly a training program, you'd rarely see anybody that wants to train you for a duration of a year, 6 months. We call it internship. And when it's internship, you need to understand that you should be able to work unsupervised after just a few weeks, because if you're an intern, you are more technically like a staff of the establishment, of the bakery, of the business, as the case may be. So now, first of all, I said, because you have to try hands-on and learn physically, some people believe in seeing, like seeing is believing, so they prefer the on-site class. But that's actually, for me, that is actually the only advantage I've actually seen, except for the fact that it keeps you on your toes. So if you're somebody that likes challenges, on-site classes might work better for you, because now you have a short time frame to achieve some results, to at least bake something good and decorate it and get good satisfactory results that will make your tutor proud of you. If you're somebody that likes to work on that kind of pressure, then on-site classes work for you. But if you're someone that is laid back, you're detailed, you take your time in learning, not like you won't get it, but you want to learn at your pace, I'd strongly advise that you go with the online version. And that's because you are not going to be working under any kind of pressure. So the second, after saying all of this now, I'm going to telling you the disadvantages of on-site classes. For on-site classes now, they are definitely more expensive, and there are just a few factors as to this reason. Number one, most on-site classes, most of the packages always provide everything you need to learn through the duration of time that you need to learn. Now, let's assume, for instance, that a training costs you 100,000 to achieve. They are going to be providing for you, well, most people that I know that I've come across, they are going to be providing everything, as much as the ingredient that you're going to be baking every single project until your training is over. Excuse me. So then you have to pay for that. But you coming now to learn, for instance, I'm going to give you an instance. You want to go for a 1-week baking course. The baking course has about 10 recipes, and they have given you a cost, and then they will let you know that it's inclusive of everything you're going to be needing. Bear in mind that you're not going to be taking these things away, you're just going to be using them to learn on the spot. And even the tools that you're going to be using for your home practicals, because definitely even if you learn at a place, you need to go back for reinforcement, you still need to eventually buy them. So it's more like double spending for you, because you need to pay for what you are using to learn at the point where you are learning, and you still need to pay for what you're going to be using to reinforce. You can't come and learn and just go home to sleep and feel because it's practice that makes perfect. Practice, mistakes, errors, then you get to that near perfection until you get perfect. Nobody is perfect anyway, you just have to keep learning anyway. But I'm talking of the basic rudiments, like the early foundational stage now. Second of all, that aside, so you have to be buoyant to a good extent for you to be able to engage yourself in an on-site class. On-site class, now I'm talking about the resources that you're going to be expending on the part of the tutor now. That makes it more expensive. Second of all, the fact that most of the time when people are going for trainings, you need to factor in the proximity of your location as to where your tutor is. Your tutor won't come to you. You have to go to your tutor. Now you like you have seen somebody now. You like a mentor. You admire the person's work. You need to train with the person. And now you have found out and you can realize and you have realized that your location is like two ends. Now, if the person has options of online classes, I'd rather you go with it. And that's because you don't need to deprive yourself of learning from that person just because the person is far from you. Number one, it would be highly inconveniencing, even if, especially if you're in a location where there is a lot of traffic. For instance, no location mentioned. If you're in a location that has a lot of traffic, for instance, your training is stated for 9 daily, and you get there at 10 because you have been in traffic, you are so mentally exhausted, you are so physically exhausted. At the end of the day, you get to your training and you are drabby, you are not even assimilating as much as you would have wanted to, and your coach on her or his own is fully ready and refreshed to teach you. So they will teach you with the pace that they think you should learn. Alright, and at the end of the day, you going for that on-site class might now make you even more discouraged going into the baking business, because if on the first day you go, it seems like you haven't achieved anything. It feels like the person is going faster than the pace at which you're going. What's up if the training is a general training? Trust me, it's actually hectic. Like if you are like a group of people learning like 5, 6, you know, no teacher, no tutor, no coach would actually give you individual attention. And that's why there is always the alternative of going for private training, which is even more expensive. That way you pay for the time of your tutor, you pay for the fact that you're going to be getting the undivided attention of your tutor. The time frame that could have been used to teach 5 people has to be expended on you and you alone. The resources that might have, like if you have 4 people now and you are on a training, you are learning a red velvet recipe, they're going to be teaching all of you at the same time. So she's going to be using the same quantity of recipe and measurements and resources, and she's going to be training 4 people at the same time. But if it is only you, it's going to be only you. So for you to want to go for a physical private class, you have to get your money ready. Trust me, you have to get your money ready, and that's no caps, right? So that's what I'm just trying to tell you, that you have to be ready financially, you have to be ready physically and mentally, because if, like I said earlier, if you're in a situation whereby you are stuck in traffic, you are so tired and you really still want to push and to learn. But trust me, there's something called mental stress. If you're stressed mentally, no matter how you are being taught or you are being explained to, you might probably just find yourself dozing, or you feel like, oh, are you even learning anything? And now you have a streamlined pattern of time that you have to learn. Oh, I just have 5 days here, I didn't achieve anything on day 1. How will day 2 be? Then the doubts will set in, the uncertainties will set in. So that one, you can never get down with the online classes, alright, because that's more flexible. You can even learn on your bed at the comfort of your space. You can learn at your time. It's just your data that will do the work for you, because when you have your data, you can always reload, you can always go back to it. And most of the time, except it's a live online class, which is not always, it's not very common. Most on-site online classes are already pre-recorded, so most of them you have access to whatever videos that you've paid for. So for instance, when you know how we are all busy, we can get distracted. There are distractions everywhere. For instance, if you're like a nursing mom, or you are just a career woman, or you are a family woman, you know, you cannot actually sit down for hours just watching a video of learning. Your brain might even be tired, and even if your brain is not tired, some other duties will call. So that is when you would appreciate the online version of teaching you, because you can easily pause it and close the tab, come back to it when you are more relaxed, especially knowing that you don't have a time frame of trying out a project that they will tell you, okay, you have to make a 4-layered cake before you can get certified, or before you can become a certified baker. That won't put you under unnecessary pressure, especially if you're a new baker still trying to get into the business, or even still trying to survey the terrain and know if this works for you or not. I think personally that being a new baker and jumping in on an on-site class is actually a bit too quick. Like, it might actually change your notion and perception of what the baking industry is about. Really, I think it's always better for you to always go the more flexible route. I'm not talking easier now. Even online is not easy, because you need to struggle to understand whoever is teaching you, and you have to be lucky to know that the person who is teaching you is actually bearing it all for you. But trust me, let me give you a quick tip. Even if you are doing on-site classes, the truth is, it is what your tutor wants to teach you that your tutor will teach you. So if you are thinking, oh, if I do an online class now, they will hold back some information. If you do on-site classes too, trust me, a tutor can easily hold back on any information. They have the discretion of teaching you what it is that they want to teach you. So it still boils down to you. And at the end of the day, you need to feel comfortable. You need to feel convenient. You need to feel at ease learning. It shouldn't be such a task or such a chore for you, so that by the time you get into the basic rudiments of baking, you will not already be too tired before even starting. So going back now, I'll just read this out for you. My thoughts are this: you get to try hands-on and learn physically with on-site classes. It is, however, more expensive, and if you are not really financially buoyant, it might be such a task for you to keep up, alright, because you need to pay for all the things that comes at your convenience. You have to keep up with the teaching pace of your coach. That might be an advantage, and it may be a disadvantage. It depends on how you see it. Like I already explained, if you're someone that likes challenges, that might be an advantage for you. But if you're someone that's a bit laid back and you like to learn at your pace, it will be a huge disadvantage for you. You work only with a limited time frame. Most on-site classes have a time frame: 1 week class, 2 weeks hands-on, 1 month at the maximum, because nobody really wants to teach anybody for such a long time. Because at the end of the day, in teaching you can't really teach everybody anything. Like I tell my students, the few that have come for on-site classes, I tell them that you are only here to learn the basics. You are the one that will project on your basics and build on it. I'm just here to teach you like the foundation, how to go about it, show you the equipment you need, show you the tools, identify the tools, show you how it's done, and then you would now build on it, just like building the foundation for you of a house, and then you'll be the one to expand it and widen your horizon as much as you can. So at the end of the day, you still need to do some work, whether you do online or whether you do on site. So I said proximity and cost of movement might not be favorable. That's it. So for instance, now if you now determine that, look, for instance, now you are 5 kilometers away from your tutor's space or your tutor's bakery, you have defied all means and you have said, against all odds, this is the person I want to teach me. It is actually good. It means you have a resilient spirit. But would you not get tired? You do that every single day. Especially makes it worse for you if this particular tutor isn't even offering accommodation. If the person isn't even offering accommodation, so you're expected to leave your own place as early as it's for you to come up and to meet up. And trust me, human body, we get tired, we get weak, we get exhausted. So if at any point you go through this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, by Monday, I can assure you that you might not even look forward to going there. Not because you're not enjoying it, but the stress will already be telling on you. Because maybe when you go there, it's not like you're going to sit and relax. You're still going there to learn and walk, and and learn stuff. And learning involves you walking, right? Because it is whilst you walk that you get the experience. So, and again, you may not have that luxury of time. Yes, and this is actually a very, very important point. You may not have that luxury of time to enroll for a full course of training, especially if still working under an establishment. Like, a lot of people now might think that, oh, okay, what's my end point plan like? If I decide not to work in this firm, in this company again, I'd like to be a baker. Now, in the meantime, you are still in the learning process. I personally would never advise anybody to drop a job to just go for full-time training, because there are a lot of uncertainties. You might decide to enroll for the training, and going halfway you decide that this is not my thing, and then you've left your job, and then you have lost on both ends, really. Because baking takes passion. It takes passion. Aside from being creative, it takes passion because baking is hard. I'm not going to mince words or sugarcoat anything. It is actually worse. It is hard mentally. It is hard financially. It is hard physically on you because it is draining. It is hand work. It's not even by and paper, it's labor. So you need to be ready if you want to go commercialized in that aspect. It is not for the faint-hearted. I must promise you that. So if you are in a kind of business, you're already in a company that is actually giving you salary, I'd advise you hold on with that and go with trainings that are flexible with your timing, maybe weekends or maybe whilst you have a leave and you can go. And then the disadvantage of most trainings now is a lot of people don't do this one-on-one at your time thing. They have their schedule for the year. So if, for instance, all of a person's schedule, your preferred teacher, all of her schedule doesn't even fall in the line of time we are going to have a leave, what are you going to do? In that, you have to look for an alternative, and that is why online then comes to play. That way you can even sit down at your break time at work and watch your videos. You are learning, you are seeing everything is clear, is explanatory enough, and you are even picking everything. And then maybe your weekends when you're not going to work, you can then try out your project. So in summary, I'm just going to give you this as a teaser, or just maybe like as a hint, whatever you take it as. Whatever you take it as. Number one, if you want to go with the on-site pattern, I'd rather you be somebody that is not employed. You can take on risk, right? You can just decide that today I want to start going from mainland to the island to go and learn because I don't really have much doing. Don't leave your job because you want to go for on-site training. Sorry, I keep mixing it up. Because you want to go for on-site training, and that's because what if you lose interest? It is that job you're still going to fall back on. You can't go back begging your employees that I'm sorry, I resign. I want my job back. So you have to be smart. You have to think ahead. You have to think of the possibilities of not even being interested or just losing interest. Maybe you've seen it, you've admired baking. Oh, you see beautiful cakes, you see beautiful bakers, you see they make it look so easy, and then you start working, you start teaching, you start training, and it's a different ballgame, and you're like, oh, I never thought it was like this. What then am I going to do? I left my job already. So trust me, if you want to go with the on-site pattern, I'd rather you're not somebody that has a job on the line that will put you in any kind of trouble, because that will be another disadvantage for you. Okay, so if you want to go with the online, that favors you with your job. You can always do that. You can just be added to the class or whatever it is, whatever pattern that your tutor is going to use. It will definitely favor you if you are somebody that is still on a 9 to 5 or on a paid job or whatever the case may be. So you don't lose at both ends. Also, you don't forfeit one for the other. Until you decide to do the training, you have seen how it works, you are comfortable with the rigors, and you are ready to let your job go when you have found your feet. Me personally even mentor my students that even if you have gotten a hang on the baking thing, I'd never advise you to leave your job until you are able to break even in the aspect of baking, until you've been able to discover, a reasonable client base that can sustain you without your salary. So everything just, they're all intertwined together. They are just work hand in hand together. You just need to sit down. If you know that you really want to go through this route, what works for me? That's the first thing. I'm a new baker. I'm an intended baker. What works for me? For a new baker, online classes might be better because it's more flexible, it's more relaxed. It is also always explicit to the best of my knowledge. All right, and then you work at your pace. You are not under any. See, the pressure will come. That's just the thing. The pressure will come. Don't be in a hurry to get into the baking pressure. Don't get into the baking pressure at the very get-go. You will get discouraged and the likes of it. So try the best you can to make it as fun for yourself as you can. Like from the get-go, learn, unlearn. I don't like this one, just scroll. That's why even if you're not going with any personal tutor program, that's why YouTube is there. All those classify under online training. All right, you don't know them, they don't know you, they are bearing out their training to you. Most importantly, it's just your data that works for YouTube. It's not that you're going to pay anything. And there's something I must advise, that if you even want to go for any paid online classes, always go for the cheapest. You know why? It's for credibility purpose. You stumbled on somebody now and she says she offers you online classes. She might have classes that are more expensive. Don't rush to pay for the online classes that are more expensive. Why? Because for the benefit of doubt and for you to be able to gain the person's trust and be convinced that, because the approach the person is going to be using is the same pattern all through. The person will not tell you that, oh, I'm more expensive for my more expensive classes. It is the same. If the person is open and exposed to teaching for a 1,000 naira class, it's still the same way the person will be open for a 5,000 naira class. So go with the cheaper ones first, okay? Reason why online classes are even more cheaper and affordable. Go with the cheaper ones. Watch the videos, ask questions, observe the response of the coach. If the person is readily available for you and all of that, and if the responses you get from the person is satisfactory enough, and if you try the recipes, if it works perfectly for you, then you can go back and pay for the more expensive classes. Then you've gotten that level of trust in the person that, yes, I'm having an online class, but it is still as worth it as if it was just as if I was in the physical space of the person. I don't know if I'm missing anything out. Yes, and for online classes, I'd always think you learn at your pace, which is actually a win-win for me personally. You learn at your pace. It's more affordable after all said and done. I'm sure you're convinced that it's more affordable. You try out projects at your convenience. There is no pressure from any quarter saying submit your project. You are trying to get your smooth sides. It's not smooth. Then you feel incompetent, you feel inadequate, you feel you are not catching up, and you feel discouraged. Especially when you are in a group with a group of other learners and they're doing better than you. Everybody has their learning pace. You don't want to go through that route of being unnecessarily pressured with other people that you seem or you feel are learning faster than you, and then you retreat. Do you understand? It's just logical, right? So you try out your project at your convenience. All you do is probably snap your projects to your tutor and say, oh, I did this today. And all you need will just be encouragement. Yeah, you did this good. It can be better. All right, next time try this. And then it will give you more confidence. You repose more confidence in yourself that yes, I can do this, because nobody is here to put so much eye on me or condemn my attempts. The little beginnings are very important. No matter how big you become, you always have to remember those early days. And then again, it's cheaper to achieve. That's it again. And again, there's really no unnecessary pressure to meet up. Yeah, I already said that there's no unnecessary pressure to meet up. So after all said and done, I personally think that if you are a beginner, I'd rather strongly advise against you going for an on-site class. After listening to all of this TED talk, I think you should be able to decide by yourself with nobody pressurizing you, with nobody letting you know what you should do, because it is you and you are the one that knows your capacity. Trust me, you might not be able to override the place of that on-site class during the course of your growth in the baking. Because you will get to a point where yes, now I know how to bake. Now I know how to decorate. Now I need to learn advanced techniques. I need to go to the next level. At that point, nobody is going to put you through that pressure of you don't know it, you know it. Then you are already a baker yourself. Like, you are already grounded in your own right. What you just want to do now is just to improve yourself. So I believe personally that on-site classes are not for beginners. They're for those that just want to improve themselves. You already know the terrain. You are already working. You just want to improve. By then you meet up with your mentor or whoever you are looking up to, get a paid class and attend like a semi-professional. So even when you get to your tutor is even so willing to teach you, because you are already almost on the same level. Just that the person is going to be teaching you things that you don't know. But you're not going as a novice, as somebody that doesn't even know what a flour is, what a baking powder is, what a baking soda is, more like, that kind of thing. I really think it's my own opinion, right? So I just thought to chip this in, because I've gotten countless requests every time for online classes as well as for on-site classes, and this exactly is what I tell everybody. I let you know the advantages, I let you know the disadvantages, and I leave you to make your decisions by yourself. So I just thought to bring this here, all right, so that it will be in the open. So if at any point you feel confused, you don't know what to do or how to go about it, you can always just listen to this over and over again and just make your decision by yourself, which is the most important. No pressures really, because trust me, the baking industry is very interesting, but it is actually very, very hectic. You need to have a strong will to be able to hold up with it. All right, so after all that's said and done, I don't know if I've been able to treat this topic as much as I wanted to. I didn't want this video to take as long as it has even taken, okay? But just bear with me, because when it's time to just give talks like this, I always try to talk from the practical point so that you can actually relate whilst you're listening to me. All right, so I think that will be all for today, and I hope that you will be able to make the right decision in any case. And trust me, even if you are still not able to make the right decision, you can always reach out to me. I can always still further advise you, because don't forget that we are all here together to learn and unlearn and to be better versions of ourselves, regardless of even if it's for a baking, whatever, in any kind of training you want to do. This actually applies to any kind of training. It's not streamlined to only the baking industry. In any training you want to do, always weigh your pros and cons and determine by yourself which you want to go with. The bottom line is you are learning regardless, and you are going to be passing the knowledge into your craft, and then going to be serving your customers better. So that'll be all for today, and as always, I remain your favorite girl. You know what to do. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Always click the like button. Just always click the like button, and always tell your friends about us. Come to my page, listen to my videos, watch my videos, and learn something new today. Spread the word and always show some love. I remain your favorite girl, Fimiesdessertsville. Bye.